solution.
So they're suspended. They're suspended evenly.
Yeah. So what happens is there's a saturation limit in olive oil or any kind of an oil where you can actually dissolve the particles in. Anything over that, you'll get coagulation of the particles. They'll clump and they'll fall out of suspension.
Okay.
So what you want to do is there's several methods to change or create it's called like a zeta potential, where you create a like charge on the particles. And if you can create a big enough zeta potential, the particles will actually repel themselves while they're in that suspension in the oil. And this is exactly what we do to get that super high concentration.
So that's something I wanted to talk to you about, because nobody has a concentration of carbon 60 like you have. And I see these ridiculous products where the whole bottle has like 42 milligrams, and you've got bottles that are either 220 or 440. And then the other thing is that they make them in dropper bottles where they're exposed to light and it's exposed to oxygen, which makes no sense. And I want you to get into that in a moment as well. I do want to get into the benefits of carbon 60 also. But as people are listening, they're going to say, well, what is it? So, but what you're saying is it's better to have no patent where you just have the trade secrets where people don't know how you did it than to have it patented where everyone can see how you did it.
That's how Coca-Cola does it.
That's true. Not just Coca-Cola. There's a lot of companies where they have these trade secrets and they walk around. I know that I'm trying to think of, there's a major pizza company that does it too, but where they walk around with like the thing in a if they ever bring it out, they to take it somewhere else, they have armed guards and everything else. I mean, it's crazy, but that's what they do.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, like for example, there's only a handful of labs that actually make the finished product, the C60, and the biggest headache, the biggest problem is getting the soot, and then you have to create or have a soot like a chimney soot,
right?
But it has to be fullerene rich, right? Okay. And there's known methods, to generate this soot, but I'm working on a method to do it more efficiently and generate lots of it. And I'll give you for instance. Do you know what pyrolysis is?
No.
That's when you have combustion or you burn something in the absence of oxygen, right?
Okay.
So I'll tell you what I'm doing. So I'm going to have a setup with this like incinerator, a small incinerator, and it's going to be air free. And then I'm going to burn some carbon in it. And I'm going to take it into a lung, another lung later on, and this lung is going to have a carbon-rich vapor in it, right, with no air. Then I'm going to apply high-voltage spikes to it, and hopefully I'm going to end up with fullerene soot. But I can tell you this because I'm not going to patent it, and I don't think anybody else is going to think about it. But as long as I can get my hands on that soot, and if it's fullerene rich, well, we're in business, and I can just send that to labs to do the extraction until we have our own equipment.
So right now you're buying the finished product from others, but you're saying you can actually make a better version of it down the road. But in the meantime, you're using the stuff that there's only a handful of places that make it, but you're doing something special to it to keep it from breaking down or being affected by light or oxygen.
Yeah, because everything is processed under nitrogen blanket. It's in a nitrogen glove box. A glove box is akin to one of those baby incubators. It's airtight, and then we just pump straight nitrogen into it. We do our mixing there, we do our filling there, and our dispersion there. So the only time that the product is actually exposed to air is when you pump it into your mouth.
And you're the only company that does it this way.
I think so. I think we're the only company that discloses we have a lab. We even have pictures of our lab on the website. Everybody else has a P.O. box, and they make these claims, so I don't know.
All right, so let's talk about what carbon 60 does, because it's quite remarkable. And when I tell people, you said something the last time I had you on. You said it's so good it sounds fake.
Yeah, it sounds fraudulent. That's the whole thing, but it really works. I can't believe it. I mean, I have all of these issues have disappeared.
And we're going to get into that more with you in a moment. But what is it? What is the keynote thing about carbon 60 that everybody should know? What is its number one benefit that has the medical world buzzing?
Well, that extends the life of rats by 2 times. Did you know in that experiment with the rats?
You're talking about the body study.
They killed the rats on purpose because the experiment was going on too long.
That's too funny. So they don't even know if the rats would have kept living.
That's right. But you know the litmus
I've
test,
heard
the actual.
Upwards of 90%.
Sorry, go ahead.
I've heard that upwards of 90% increase in longevity on rats that were using this, and they were not expecting this. They weren't expecting any kind of great improvement in lifespan. But the Bocce study just galvanized, revolutionized the thinking on how you can make something, an organism, a mammal, live longer. And if you would go more into this study, because this is the number one reason to take this product. There are plenty of reasons. We'll get into them. But this is the number one reason to use it because of the longevity benefit. And I'd like you to discuss it further, this study.
Sure. Before we get into that, I want to tell you what the actual litmus test for me is.
Okay.
I'm 62 years old. I'm not in very great shape, and my wife makes me work in a garden all the time. So what happens is I always get this sore back, and when I get that sore back, it usually takes me 4 to 5 days to recover. Now I'll still get the sore back, but the next morning I'll just jump out of bed. No sore back, no nothing.
So no recovery issues.
No recovery issues at all. This is really amazing. I start work a lot earlier. I can multitask. My arthritis in my knee doesn't bother me. My tendonitis doesn't bother me. My hair is getting darker. My night vision has improved. I don't snore. And my skin looks great.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. That's all that antioxidant value, which I want to get into with you. And we're going to bring
wait. So it's not a sponge. It's an antioxidant black hole because it just keeps giving and giving like the Energizer Bunny.
And this is a big deal. So it, unlike most antioxidants where it lends off an electron to neutralize a free radical, it's absorbing these free radicals in multiples of its own weight. And that's kind of unique in the antioxidant field, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. But keep in mind, I'm not a biologist. I really don't understand the mechanism.
Okay, but we'll
you
get
probably
into that.
know more than I do.
Yeah, but you understand how to make it. So I'm going to talk about some of the benefits. And this is something that this product, the Carbon 60, had a Nobel Prize. It was discovered in 1985 by 3 scientists. They were looking at red giants. These are stars. And they were able to surmise that there was carbon 60 and carbon 70. Carbon 60 was hypothesized back in 1970 by a Japanese scientist who concluded, based on the shape of other carbon pieces, that there has to be a carbon 60 out there. There has to be a 60 carbon atom. And when they discovered it, they realized it predated much of the universe. But they figured out a way to make it on the planet, and it's made out of charcoal, if I understand it right, because charcoal's carbon, and there's a unique process to make it out of charcoal. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It actually exists in nature, but it's very rare. They've got a city in Russia called Chunga, right?
Right.
This is interesting.
Is that where shungite comes from?
Pardon?
Is that where shungite comes from?
Yeah. So the Tsar used to send his soldiers there to recover because it was some sort of a miraculous spa there. And it's got C60 in it, the shungite.
Right. And people are using shungite to block out radiation, which is one of the benefits of carbon 60. So carbon 60 is naturally found in shungite. But what you're doing is taking it to a whole completely different place because you're actually making it bioavailable to the body. Now, some of the benefits of carbon 60 are remarkable. Things like the anti-inflammatory part. This is why you don't have the sore back. Well, I took it 2 days after taking it. My knee was fine. I had a knee injury that progressively got worse. And as soon as I got on, 2 days later, I was fine. I have people on who have tears in the rotator cuffs, and their movement is now almost full. I have people that were in severe pain, and they took the CBD oil from Earth Science and Rheuma Art, and they took this, and they're completely out of pain. These are people that were on opioids. I have people that could barely move around at all, like you were saying, and within a short period of time, they're remarkably better. And when we get on the phone with Derek, we're going to actually bring him on momentarily. He can talk about some people and some of his own experiences. But this works for inflammation. It also does repair to DNA without changing the sequence. So you're not going to have something abnormal happen. It's just going to repair the DNA. It works on the membranes of cells, so it repairs those. As we age, as the cells divide, as we get closer to the Hayflick limit, you get to the point where cells don't look like they used to look. So this does repair to those cells. Then you've got the advantages against viruses and microbes. I mean, it's remarkable. The inflammation part is amazing. Why do you think, or do you have a reason to understand why it extends the life of organisms so greatly? Because it's not a little bit, it's huge.
I don't know, but I'll tell you a story here. I have a neighbor here, and he's got this really bad-looking sort of a cyst. It's melanoma. So
right.
what I did is I emulsified some of the C60 oil. I did a very strong batch, and I emulsified it in a hyaluronic acid and DMSO2. And he's been applying it to his
melanoma,
to that area, and it's like in 1 week it's improved so much. I mean, he's not worried anymore, right?
I like
but
DMSO.
We're going to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, keep us abreast on that. I like DMSO. I had ligament damage in my hand from playing ball back in the day, and I put some DMSO on it, and the hand doesn't close equal to the other hand, but I have complete versatility of the movement. And I give DMSO to people, and lo and behold, a lot of their problems in tissue all of a sudden get better. So I like the idea because that will get right into tissue fast. So you're taking the carbon 60, the DMSO, and hyaluronic acid. You're making a, I
emulsify it, but yeah. I'm still getting the separation. But he's just shaking the bottle very well
right.
before he applies it. But it seems to be working.
Yeah, he's putting right on the melanoma. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And the thing is that there's so many things that can be used for it. The Nobel Prize was in 1996. They didn't realize the benefits to humans till the 2000s. So we're just starting to understand it, and there are a lot of people that are explaining it on different social media, but they don't really know how to make it correctly. And if you use something and it's being damaged by light and oxygen, it doesn't make sense. They're also not getting the concentration. But you're an industrial engineer. You know how to do these things. This is what you.
Oh yeah. So it's a zeta potential. So we have to apply a like charge to all of the particles. Okay, and you can't do that unless it's already in the liquid. But I have a method. I have a method to generate a resonant frequency. This is all with acoustics. And I use these substantially sized electrodes, but they act as transducers in this process. And you've got to find that resonant frequency. And it's different for everything, So with the olive oil, it took me about a week to figure it out because it's all trial and error. But that was no big deal.
And let me tell you, everybody who's using the product is noticing something. Now, my understanding is the real benefits kick in about 3 months into it. I want to bring on Derek as well. Derek, you're on the line? Is Derek on the line too? No, I guess not. So we'll have to bring him on. But Derek, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
How are you, Richard?
So also online with us is Derek LePage, who I've known for 12 or 15 years. He's one of the founders of Allure Imports, and he's the one who's responsible for making the Carbon 60 available to me and introducing me to Maladin. And you've sent me a lot of information about people that you've known that have had dramatic impacts. And you also told me something that was really interesting to me about using apples along with the carbon 60. So I don't know which one of you want to discuss about it, but I want you to explain how the apple enhances carbon 60.
Okay, well, Richard, yeah, like Mladen was saying, the carbon Vitality C60 that we make, and that is the name of ours too. It's Vitality C60. But the reason for the apple, from my understanding and what I've learned through doing some research, is that the apple is a high fiber, and when it's high in hydrogen, and I guess the hydrogen somehow connects with the C60 molecule to get rid of the oxidative stress in the body and makes it work quicker and faster. So,
So should they eat a piece of an apple or a whole apple after taking it, or right before taking it?
You could take it after or before.
Because I've seen some of that research too, and a lot of it you presented to me, which up until then, I wasn't aware of that fact. And yeah, it does make hydrogen gas. The fiber actually does that, and so when you're taking that hydrogen gas and you're taking it with the carbon 60, it enhances the effectiveness throughout the bloodstream. Now, as Mladen pointed out, this is like a black hole to free radicals. It absorbs those free radicals, takes them out of the body, and carbon 60, and correct me if I'm wrong, stays in your body. Each squirt stays in your body up to 10 days.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. I've heard up to 10 days. Some people say 24 hours. I think it's still up for discussion, but most likely I would say it would stay in your body for at least a couple of days.
Well, the original rat studies said something like 4 days. So here's what I care about. I take it every day.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Well,
and what I can tell you is I have like no aches and pains, and I just want to give a point of reference here. 14 years ago in 2 days, so it'll be my anniversary in 2 days, I had a major car accident with an 18-wheeler. Not my fault, but he came across 3 lanes and we had a bad accident. I herniated 6 discs, 4 in the neck and 2 in the lower back. I had 3 neurologists say I needed surgery. I've never taken a pain pill for it. And I've been doing collagen, hyaluronic acid, and other things that have helped me along the way for those 14 years. Last April, I had another car accident, not my fault either. Lady fell asleep, and we had a 45-mile-an-hour head-on, and I ended up fracturing all the cartilage on my right side, broke a bone in my back, and I had a big hematoma across the belly. And so that caused, and your whole body gets twisted, so that doesn't help either. And because of all the stuff I took, I healed in 3 months roughly instead of over 6. Now, here's the interesting point. I was still having residual issues on occasion, not on occasion, but, more than that. And it was because I had these, 2 sets of injuries. I'm 58 years old, blah, blah, blah. I walk on tile every day, and I was having issues. And my knee, I don't know what I did, but my knee started getting really bad out of the blue. And for 2 weeks, it started getting really bad. And the first time I talked about the carbon 60, I wasn't even in the store. I was going to my niece's wedding, so when I wanted to use the product, it wasn't available. I had to wait a week. It got worse, and so when I finally started using the product, 2 days after using it, I'm feeling great. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. So I've been on it ever since, and what I can tell you is I never wake up in pain. I don't wake up in stiffness. I don't get any swelling in my ankles related to any of my injuries. I just, everything seems to be improving. All the people that I've talked to who've used it, experienced it, have mentioned different things, whether it's acuity, your brain works better, or your energy levels, or the inflammation, the big one with the pain and the inflammation is just remarkable. But of course, the 800-pound elephant in the room is that Bhatti study that shows, and they've duplicated the study for different age rats, and all the rats live a lot longer.
Yeah.
So we know that, it's provable over and over again. You can do that same test and get the same results. And so the carbon 60 extends your life, but not so you're decrepit in a home. You're actually improving different parts of your body. So you're actually de-aging the body, the cells, making yourself more impervious to disease through the carbon 60, so you're actually getting younger as you get older.
Exactly. That's exactly the point I wanted to make as well. It works on your body at a biological level, so it helps repair the cells, get rid of those damaged free radical cells. It activates those cells that aren't functioning properly. It kicks them into gear, and your body basically is starting to reverse in aging. And people will notice, too, when you start taking the C60 that your nails are going to start growing longer. The hair, you may not grow hair for you, but your hair that is growing will probably start to become longer as well as grow faster, and you might even see some color coming back into your hair.
Well, as long as it doesn't grow hair on my palms, I'm good.
Yeah, well, that could be another issue.
Yeah, it could be. So,
yeah,
getting back to the surprise, you sent me an article about a gentleman, and if you would just discuss it, because he was written up in the paper, he was in a real bad way. So, if you would explain what happened to him.
You're talking about the degenerative arthritis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was that's myself. I'm the one with the degenerative arthritis.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah, I've been suffering from this for years, and
you know what? I didn't look at the name on the thing. I just read the article.
Yeah,
how retarded was that? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was me. I like I said, I've been using this stuff for 2 months since Mladen introduced it to my business partner, and he's been using it. And he had a lot of back pain. His back pain is gone. He introduced it to his father, who just went through, I believe it was prostate cancer. And he's gone back, and all his test results show no signs of cancer. I have my uncle, and I know I shouldn't be saying that word, but it's a fact. I mean, these people are giving me their testimonial. My uncle, who's got spine cancer and 4th stage, and he was in really bad shape. I went and brought him his second bottle the other day and asked him how he's feeling. He says, I got very little pain left in my back, and he's up moving around, he's walking, he's driving again. So, I mean, it's done remarkable things for the people in my life. And, I'm just excited to see people that, are interested to use this stuff. And one of the things I want to mention, Richard, is if people are coming into the store to buy the Vitality C60 and they use it and they contact us and give us their testimonial, we're going to give them a free bottle for their testimonial.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
If you go down to Simply Natural, purchase the Vitality C60, keep your receipt. After you've used the product, you can call us in and let us know how it's working for you. Give us your testimonial, and we'll send you out another free bottle.
That's incredible, and that's something that I'm going to point that out to everyone who buys this, because this is amazing. Like I said, I have a friend of mine, torn rotator, not able to move the arm at all. I couldn't lift it up past maybe a 45-degree angle, if that, and now can lift over their head. And I'm not saying it's all the carbon 60, but within 4 days that happened, where the movement was dramatic. I've had people. I have a person. I can't go into great detail, but he was his cancer was really, really bad. No one knows why he's still alive, because he was like at death's door. We put him on the carbon 60. We didn't even do it for the anti-cancer benefit, even though that's what one of the benefits we did for other reasons. It helps with a lot of pain, and he was on opioids, and he was on morphine in particular, and he couldn't get out of bed. We put him on the CBD oil. We put him on Rheuma Ard. He got out of bed, but he was still in a lot of pain, but he was manageable. We put him on the carbon 60, zero pain. And what happened was his platelets shot up. One of the things that they're finding out with this product is it affects bone marrow. And so the cells that are made in there, things like platelets and red blood cells, they're being affected positively by the carbon 60. So all of a sudden, because they were checking his blood all the time, so it shot from 14 to 67. Still not a great number, but again, it was in a matter of days. Yeah, and his life force came back some, and they're looking at him. They don't know why he's alive. Maybe it's the carbon 60. Certainly that's the only thing that he introduced new that was, and he had a complete reversal in his behavior. Again, and I'm not saying that it's an answer that you could be at death's door and then take carbon 60 and you'll be healed. But I'm not suggesting that. But I see these things, and when you're selling something to somebody and you see the response, and again, my knee and my shoulders, my neck, these are areas that I have, again, 4 herniated discs in the neck, 2 in the lower back, and a broken bone in the lower back, which healed, by the way. But there's enough injuries there that, if I'm not feeling any of it, something good's happening.
Yeah, and
I just reread what you sent me. I didn't even realize, because you're reading through the article and your name's right there. It's absurd, but I didn't see it. And you went through a lot.
Yeah.
And everybody that I've known who's used this product who has something that's inflamed, it makes a difference. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's a super antioxidant. It really is something that will get into your system and work at a cellular level to clean up all the free radicals, get rid of the oxidized stress in the cells.
Now, if people are interested, I should have given out the phone number. They can call me at 954-741-4045. Again, that's 954-741-4045. We're open 7 days a week. If we, for some reason, run out of it, we'll get it to you this week, because I need to order more from you as soon as I get off the phone. Call me if you would, because I need to set that up. Mladen, what are you?
Yes, sir.
What's your expectation with this, as far as where do you see the benefits of carbon 60 expanding to? If that's a fair question to ask you.
Well, I've been listening to you guys, and listen, I know for sure that this stuff induces apoptosis in mutated cells. So we've got my friend with the melanoma. That works. I think this is going to be a very, very big dermal product as well. We're going to have to rework this.
Well, I'm just thinking of... Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I really don't know where this is going to go. I think everybody's going to start taking this stuff. This stuff, it's legal cheating for athletes. If that's sort of an oxymoron. There's a study on a skeletal muscle fatigue, and it found that the rats don't get as tired when they're exercised.
Right.
I don't know. I think everybody has to start taking this stuff.
I think so too. So let me just recap some points, because we only got a couple minutes left. It's going to improve longevity. The studies prove that. That's not an opinion. That's fact. The Bhatti study increased the lifespan of rats 90%. It fights inflammation. So, and I can attest to that personally. So can the two guys that are on the phone with me right now. It kills viruses. It protects nerves. It works on, people who have dementia issues and their neurons are overfiring. It helps offset that. It certainly could help with, osteoarthritis issues and so forth. It works. The big thing that you just pointed out is apoptosis. So those cells that need to die and are self-programmed to die, it'll help with that. So you won't get the abnormal cells that you might normally get that can lead to a cancerous situation. We know that it does great things for energy and for sleep. And the big things is it blocks UVA radiation. And I think one of the biggest things, and this is probably why the longevity does have or why there is so much of that, is it's repairing the cells, but it's repairing DNA, all that DNA, without changing the sequence of the DNA, which means you get all the benefits and no penalties. And I know we're out of time. If you guys are interested in buying this, we're limited on supply, but we are going to get more. And we have, I think, the only carbon 60 that should be purchased. Call us at Simply Natural. We'll have a special price for it. I'm not going to mention on the air. Call us at 954-741-4045. That's 954-741-4045. Mladen, thank you very much for coming on. Derek, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
We're going to bring you back again. This is, to me, the most important product that's come out in 25 years. Until next week, you've been listening to Pearls of Health on WSBR, AM 740, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, iHeartRadio. Till next week, be well.
That's it for today. Remember to join us every Saturday at 12 noon for Pearls of Health, brought to you by Simply Natural on Sunset Strip and Sunrise, and for a quarter century South Florida's premier Health Talk Radio Hour. For information on any of the products discussed on today's show, call Simply Natural at 954-741-4045. That's 954-741-4045. Or go online to esimplynatural.com.